Derek Monroe was many things. An aerospace engineer, a recreational stargazer, and more recently, an interstellar diplomat representing humanity's interests in the Galactic Compact. What he was not, however, was a master of alien body language. The trouble began on Yulari Prime, a glittering world of opalescent forests and floating islands orbiting twin suns. Derek had been sent to Yulari as part of Earth's diplomatic initiative to smooth tensions after a human mining vessel trespassed into sacred territory. The Yulari were a humanoid species, distinguishable by their silvery blue skin, bioluminescent patterns along their necks, and a pair of retractable fins on their backs. The most confusing part. Their emotional language wasn't vocal. It was physical, consisting of postures, gestures, and a symphony of glows and pulses from their skin. To Derek, it all looked like they were perpetually either dancing or flirting. On his third day, he met Kalira, a Yulari linguist and cultural liaison assigned to help him navigate diplomacy. She was beautiful in that otherworldly ethereal way, her skin glowing faintly with lavender patterns as she moved with fluid grace. Her voice, when she did speak through the translator implant, was calm and melodic. What started as professional guidance slowly grew more relaxed. She'd lean closer during briefings, tilt her head a certain way, and flick her fingers toward him in quick gestures. She often placed her hand briefly over his, something he mistook for a cultural habit at first. But when her fin shivered and her eyes flared golden one afternoon while handing him a local fruit, he couldn't ignore it anymore. "Okay," Derek had murmured, watching her walk away with a sway of those long legs. "She's definitely flirting." He didn't mind. In fact, he found her charming, magnetic even. So, when she invited him to a private cultural exchange ceremony on the 7th evening, he eagerly accepted. That's where it all went sideways. Middle. The ceremony was held in a hidden cove underneath one of Yulari Prime's floating islands. Bioluminescent vines hung from the stone ceiling, illuminating a still, reflective pool at the center. Kalira was waiting, dressed in a flowing robe made of woven sea glass threads. "I've prepared the celery rites," she said, motioning for him to sit beside her. "Are you sure you're ready?" Yeah, Derek said, chuckling. "I've done a few wild rituals before. Once in New Bangkok, I drank fermented spider nectar to impress a merchant prince." Kalira gave him an amused look, then gestured to a bowl filled with iridescent powder. "This is dust from the Alesh tree. Breathing it opens your perception to shared resonance." He inhaled with little hesitation, which made her blink in surprise. "You're fearless." "I've had worse," he said, smiling confidently. "So, what now? Do we chant, dance, kiss?" Kalira's fins fluttered slightly. "You're eager." "Well," Derek said, inching closer with a sheepish grin, "I figured this is the part where we get to know each other more personally." Her expression turned serious. "You think this is courtship?" Derek froze. "Isn't it?" "This is the binding rite," she said slowly. "A sacred ritual. It hasn't been performed with an off-worlder in over 800 years. I assumed you understood the significance when you agreed." The color drained from his face. "Wait, what kind of binding?" Kalira tilted her head. "Life bonding. When two beings commit to eternal resonance, emotionally, psychically, spiritually, it is irrevocable." Derek's breath hitched. I thought we were just, flirting." "You accepted the fruit from my hand during my glow," she said, her voice tinged with both confusion and hurt. "You mimicked my gestures. You mirrored my shimmer. Those are affirmative responses. I thought you were just being seductive." "To a Yulari," she said, folding her hands tightly, "that would be a proposal of union. The silence that followed was deafening. Derek stood up, heart pounding. I didn't mean to, Kalira, I didn't know. He turned away. You must leave. Before the ritual completes its last phase. But Derek didn't move. The powder in his lungs had begun to take effect. His vision shimmered, and the pool in front of him started to ripple. Not with water, but with light. A connection opened, raw and pulsating, between him and Kalira. He could feel her shock, her sorrow, and something else deeper, hope. I didn't come here to break anything sacred, he whispered. But I can't pretend this meant nothing. I just need to understand. She turned back slowly. If the bond finalizes, our fates will entwine. Your thoughts, your memories, your very essence will echo through me, and mine through you. Derek swallowed. Then tell me one thing. In all honesty, would you have chosen me if I hadn't misunderstood? He paused. Her glow dimmed, then pulsed anew with pale pink hues. Yes. The ritual completed itself in silence. The pool burst upward in a column of light. Vines twisted toward them, brushing their skin, reading their souls. Derek didn't fight it. His heart thudded as the sensation of becoming something more settled into his chest. When it ended, he collapsed to the stone floor, exhausted but strangely whole. Kalira knelt beside him, her fingers brushing his hair. It is done. You are of Yulari now, and I of Earth. Ending. The consequences were immediate. Within hours, the Yulari Council convened an emergency summit. Life bonding with an outsider was not only ancient but politically explosive. Half the council saw it as a miracle, a gesture of unity between two civilizations. The other half saw it as heresy. Earth's delegation panicked when they learned what had happened. They wanted Derek pulled out immediately. But Derek, now irrevocably linked to Kalira, refused. I am not leaving her, he declared in front of both delegations. And frankly, neither of us regrets it. The bond had changed more than his priorities. Derek began picking up nuances of Yulari speech without translation. He could feel fluctuations in their emotional pulses and respond instinctively. Likewise, Kalira started dreaming in English, started craving earth music and spicy food, and asked endless questions about human literature. What had begun as a diplomatic faux pas was now the bridge between two species. Other humans began mimicking Derek's signals, intentionally this time, learning Yulari gestures under his and Kalira's guidance. Joint programs emerged. Cultural exchanges blossomed. Trade flourished. Years passed. Derek and Kalira, now officially ambassadors of resonance, oversaw the first interspecies university built on the equator of Yulari Prime. A place where both species taught and learned in tandem, celebrating each other's differences and similarities. And every so often, when students would ask the legendary question, how did it all begin? Derek would grin, wrap his arm around Kalira, and reply, I thought she was flirting. And Kalira would smirk, her skin pulsing a warm amber glow. He was. Together they'd laugh. Two hearts, two worlds, and one improbable eternal bond sparked by a misunderstanding that turned out to be destiny.